Warm greetings from the studios of the African Renaissance TV. This is the Maternity Show with me, Sona Dabo. And on this episode, we have a whole school to talk to us about our topic, birth preparedness and complication readiness. Mrs. Haddy Tunkara, a senior lecturer at the University of the Gambia, teaching both BSc students and master's students on reproductive and child health. Mrs. Tunkara has a PhD on reproductive and family health nursing from the University of Benin, Nigeria. And Madam, you're welcome to the Maternity Show. Thank you for honoring our invitation.
Thank you, Sona. Really, I'm happy to be here. It is an honor to be invited to talk about reproductive health issues, especially things relating to birth preparedness and complication readiness. I'm glad to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
It's a pleasure. So you are a whole inspiration to a lot of women out there. I mean, to become a whole PhD holder in issues regarding women, I think it's really a big plus for us. To set a base for our discussion, Mrs. Tunkara, let's clearly unpackage what really birth preparedness is and what complication readiness is.
Thank you very much for that question. I think it is also important for us to start with the definition. Yeah. Birth preparedness includes the processes that are involved so that the couple or the whole family is ready for the incoming baby.
Sure.
And it includes both physical and mental preparation. And if I talk about physical and mental preparation, it talks about ensure that you have the materials required for the delivery of the baby. Also ensure that you have the financial required, and psychologically, the individual is psychologically ready for that baby. Let's just think of a visitor. If you are expecting a visitor, you must prepare for that,
sure,
especially for a baby. So that's what we talk about for birth preparedness. Complication readiness. So it is the couple and the family preparing for any complication. You know, most of the time complications are things that can happen just like that.
Sure.
You may not be aware of when it happens. So it means putting things in place so that when complications happen, you can intervene as fast as possible and to reduce the hazard that it may cause.
So being pregnant is a whole thing for a woman, especially a woman at the age of reproductive. So we realize that it's really important for a woman to prepare for the coming of our baby. And you cannot really prepare for the coming of your baby without putting into consideration birth preparedness and complication readiness strategies. So let us really understand what really is involved in birth preparedness, the elements or the components that women should pay attention to.
Very good. Yeah, there are components of birth preparedness. And here, I'm not just going to talk about women, because pregnancy is not one-man thing.
Sure.
It is a couple thing. So this is why for birth preparedness, we always talk about the couples. What are the things that the couples should do? So the husband or the spouse or the partner, whatever it may be, should be really involved in the birth preparedness. And the elements include material preparation. The material preparation, these are the things that the woman will need during and after delivery. Most of the time, women may not be prepared. They don't pack their materials, and labor can happen at any time. And it is a stressful moment. It is a pain. At that moment, the woman may not be even aware of what are the things that they need. And most of the time, they'll just jump, pick one or two things, and rush to the hospital. So you'll find out that there are even sometimes the clothing that they will need. You know, after delivery, there is bleeding.
Yeah.
There are a lot of secretions coming out. They'll need to change their clothing and put on new clothes. So you'll find out they may not even come with other clothes to change after the delivery. And also after the birth of the baby, you need a wrapper to wrap that baby. You know, the baby is coming from a warm environment. So when they come out in the exposed zone, it is very cold, and it can drastically reduce their temperature.
Sure.
And that's what we call hypothermia. We try to avoid that. So we have to keep the baby warm. So we talk about wrappers and the like. So talking about the materials, when they are going for delivery, at least the woman should come with a gown, with 2 or 3 gowns. I'm talking about gown. It's something that is free that you can easily remove and put on. And this gown, it should be either new or it can be used one, but if it is an used one, maybe it's one that they should wash it
and iron,
dry it well and iron it. In the event that they're going to buy it from the second-hand clothing, it's the same process. You wash it, dry it, iron it, and fold it well. And the other thing is you buy this thing part, at least a 2-packet of part. This is very, very important. Sometimes when you come to the labor ward, they don't come with parts. And you ask them, they start to look for racks. Dirty racks can happen. And delivery period is a moment that infection can come in. So they need to buy these parts, and at least they should have 2 packets of parts that they can use. And talk about the wrapper. And it is also good to buy at least 1 clothing for the baby.
Yeah.
Sometimes people will tell you that I don't know where is a
It's
male.
not good to buy clothes before the baby comes in, but it's important.
It is important.
Yeah.
And some will even tell you that I don't know whether it is a male or a female. So you can buy unisex clothing, or sometimes let me just tell them that you can know the sex of your baby.
Sure.
Yes, and during the scanning, you know, now it is recommended that during booking the woman should be scanned, and at least in the 3rd trimester before the delivery, they should also be scanned. So during these periods, if you ask the one who is doing the scanning the sex of the baby, they'll tell you. I
mean, most of them are really not worried about the sex because they have this stereotype in their mind. If it's a girl or a boy, what would my husband say?
Very good.
It makes it difficult for them.
It makes it difficult for them. Thank you, you are right. So this is why the one doing the scan will not inform you unless and until you ask. So if they are interested in knowing the sex of the baby, they can be informed. If not, they can buy unisex clothing, which they can use. And also they need to have a wrapper, and let them also the pants, at least 3 pants that they can use. Very important. All these things, they can be used one, or they can buy it from second-hand clothing. Let them wash it, dry it, iron them, and fold them well, put them in a bag, and keep them in a place where they cannot gather dust.
Yeah. And also inform someone.
And inform someone else, somebody, that I've already packed this thing. In the event that I'm in labor or I have any complications, just grab it and we go. So it means they have already prepared their required materials, prepared for the delivery of the baby. And also, I forgot to mention the spirit. The surgical spirit is very, very important. Because most of the time, after the delivery, women may always sometimes put materials in the umbilical cord. And sepsis, infection, is one of the leading causes of neonatal mortality. That is a baby that dies within 28 days after being born. So to avoid that, we're encouraging people to buy surgical spirit, ensure that this part of their materials that they bought for cleaning of the umbilical cord.
So that is one aspect of the element out of the many. So it's important for women to be minded of the materials that they use while going for delivery. What other elements are we looking at?
The other elements is about the financial aspect of it. Yes, because labor can happen at any time. It can happen at night. It can happen during a period, maybe at the middle of the month. If you are somebody working, you are yet to receive your salary. So we talk about saving money. Saving money. Even though in the Gambia, we're saying that our maternal and child health service is free, but let me just tell you that there's a hidden cost involved in that free maternal child health services. So we always advise the couple, especially the husband, you know, in the Gambia, even though we are also encouraging our women to be involved in economic activities, but also we depend on our husbands a lot. So we advise them to save money.
I mean, most of them would save money for their engentes.
Not for the engente.
Naming ceremonies and all that, interestingly.
To save money. So that when there is a labor at any time, they have money for the transport. If they are to hire taxi or any other means of transport, they have to pay. They have money for that. And also when they go to the hospital, I've talked about the hidden costs of the free maternal.
And even the food that they would have to eat.
The food they have to buy. And sometimes the materials are not available. Let me just tell you. Sometimes the materials are not available, or the drugs, the required drugs are not there, and they're expected to buy it. So if they have not prepared for that money, then it becomes a problem. And the other aspect is about the transport. I've talked about saving money to pay, but
and
also it is important to identify transport. If you don't own a vehicle, or if you are in a village, you don't have a horse cart or a donkey cart, it is important to identify somebody who has such. Inform the individual that my wife is currently pregnant, or the woman can inform in the event that there is no other partner that can help, that I may need you in a particular period. It can, because labor can happen at night. So if it is possible, like if you can take the number of a taxi driver and you discuss ahead of that, so that in the event that it happens at 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, you already got that number, you call the taxi driver. He has already been informed. Or you have a neighbor that you have already talked to about your pregnancy. So that whenever you call the individual, they'll know that you've already informed them prior to that. Because delay in reaching care is one of the problems that leads to maternal mortality.
Sure.
So identifying transport is also very, very
important.
So
is that kind of linked to also identifying the health facility you will be delivering at?
Very good. So the next step after you identify transport is now identifying the health facility. So now we really advocating for facility delivery.
Sure.
That is skilled birth attendant. Skilled birth means the one who is performing the delivery should be a nurse, a trained nurse, or a midwife, or a doctor. These are 3 categories of people that should perform delivery.
So what happened to our old women in the society now?
And now, you know, we used to have what they call traditional birth attendant.
Sure.
And now we are discouraging them from performing delivery at home. Because most of the time, they may not identify danger signs, or sometimes it takes time before they identify it, so it delays in reaching care. So that's why we're discouraging them from performing any delivery. Now we even change the name from traditional birth attendants to birth companions. It means they just accompany the woman to the delivery center, but they should not perform the delivery. So it is important for them to identify where they should deliver. And most of the time where they book, they can deliver there, or sometimes where they book, if it is a pregnancy that may require further intervention, they are referred. Like somebody who has been having CS, repeated CS, or is a risk factor like old age, like teenage pregnancy, and if it is a minor health center, they may refer them. But the problems that we are facing now, sometimes you refer people to hospitals, but they will not go there. They will wait. You know, labor is something that takes time. It's not something that just come and the baby is there. Some people will tell you that I started to have pain in the morning, but I don't want to stay long in the hospital. So I decided to stay at home till around maybe at night, when it is very, very painful, when you feel that the baby is almost coming, and where you are referred to go is a little bit far. So the next thing is that the center or the facility that has referred you will just see you coming, and the baby is on the way.
Or others will even give birth on the way before reaching. That happens a lot.
So it is very important. Let them know the places that they are required to deliver. If they are referred, it means that's just the appropriate place that they should deliver, because that is the area that has the required incentives, the human resources, and the materials to perform the delivery safely.
So let's look at a woman that is not married, or let's say married but husband is not available at the time. So this woman would also have to talk to another caregiver different from the husband. So at what point or period should you start preparing for your birth?
Thank you very much. I think this is a very good question. For us as healthcare providers, birth preparedness start immediately you are sure that this is pregnancy.
Wow.
So now we are advocating for early antenatal booking. That is, if you skip your menses this month, then immediately you skip it, you have to rush to the hospital. And when you go there, they'll confirm whether it's pregnancy. They'll do the pregnancy test. They'll send, I've talked about the scanning. They'll send it to do scanning, and they'll confirm. So immediately that pregnancy is confirmed. That is, within the first 3 months, you start preparing, because we know that Gambia is a resource-constrained country.
Sure.
And many people are not that resource, this thing, they don't have much money. So it is good to plan early. And most of these things may require finance. So that's why we always encourage people, start planning as soon as the day that they inform you that this is pregnancy, you start the planning.
Yeah. So before this strategy came into place, we know that there was something like safe motherhood. But we would go for a break shortly. Then when we are back, we would continue with questions on that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome back from that very short break. And if you're joining us now, this is the Maternity Show on African Renaissance TV with me, Sona Dabo. And we are discussing on this episode birth preparedness and complication readiness with, of course, Mrs. Haddy Tunkara. So before we went for that quick break, we were discussing on the components or elements of birth preparedness. But I realized we left out something very important, which is when it comes to complication readiness. So let's explore what it has.
Very good. Birth preparedness is really linked to complication readiness. And complication readiness is all about preparing for any complication that can happen. Because there are certain complications, it may not show you much signals.
Sure.
Like a bleeding, bleeding either before pregnancy or after delivery, before delivery or after delivery. So preparing for bleeding is something that is very, very important. And bleeding is one of the 5 common causes of maternal mortality in the Gambia. So it means you prepare for a complication. In the event that it happens, you already have something in place so the intervention can happen as soon as possible. So number 1 preparation for complication is being knowledgeable on the signs of, the danger signs of pregnancy.
Quite important.
Yeah, that's very important. Yeah. Both the pregnant woman and the partner should know what are the danger signs and when to seek medical care as soon as possible. And why I'm saying both the partner, because here in the Gambia, most of the time, the spouses, that is either the husband or the male partner, they decide on when or where
the woman should go.
The women should seek care. So they should be involved, so that they know when should they rush their partners to the health facilities. And one of the danger signs is bleeding. I've mentioned that. And if somebody is having swelling of the legs or of the face, is showing a sign of preeclampsia. Eclampsia is a condition in which when a woman has it, it will be fitting. And it's also among the 5 common causes of death. So this is very important. Or headache, dizziness, all these things. Or when the eclampsia came in, when the woman starts fitting in. So most of the time it's important for them to know about these danger signs, because sometimes when these pregnant women start to fit in, start having these fits, in our culture, some will tell you that they've been possessed by the jinni, the jinns, the devils, and instead of rushing to the hospital,
they do other traditional
they'll go to the traditional interventions. I've talked about the bleeding. There's a common saying in my culture that if you eat roasted meat during your pregnancy, you bleed before you deliver. So in the event that a woman has already eaten a roasted meat, when they see that bleeding, they'll tell you that it is just clearing the roasted meat.
Wow.
And there's no way that you can keep bleeding for a long. It can kill. So immediately, it is not normal for a woman who is pregnant to be bleeding. Immediately when they see that this bleeding, they should rush to the hospital. It is not that roasted meat.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of danger signs, but one of the most important things is knowing about the danger signs. Then the second thing, I've talked about bleeding. Blood donation is very, very important, because in the Gambia, we don't sell blood. We don't sell blood. It is donated. And most of the time, it is your family, your relatives that should donate you. So you will see that one of the other causes of maternity is delay in intervention. They are rushed to the health facility, but there may not be blood compatible.
I mean, it's sad that these days, usually you would see that often coming up on the internet all the time.
Yes.
A woman needs blood, that. And sometimes some of them don't even know this is the blood group that they belong to until when they get to the hospital. And that makes it difficult to get access to the blood.
It makes it difficult. So blood donation, we always encourage spouses, husbands, partners to please go with their wives, donate blood, and save it to the blood bank. And when I talk about safety to the blood bank, doesn't mean that the blood that you donated is the same blood that they will give to your wife. But if all the partners, all the women that are pregnant, they have blood being donated there and packed, the blood bank will always have enough blood. So anytime you go there, you'll have blood. So that is part of birth preparedness. Donating blood, save it to the blood bank, and they'll record your name, they record the name of your partner with the group. So in case there's any emergency, there's already blood for your wife or your partner. So that's very, very, very important.
Yeah, and also if it's not your partner that is identified, you can even talk to a family.
Very good. If sometimes maybe the partner is around, either they travel or sometimes some pregnancy, the individual may not accept it. So that is also okay. You just identify a brother or somebody who can help, just to donate blood and save it there. So in the event that you need it, it's already there. If you don't need it, it will give it to somebody else, and you've saved life. It's contribution to health. So I think these are important things that people need to be aware.
It's all kind of interlinked in one way or the other, because when we were discussing the preparedness plan, we did mention that you need to identify a facility for all this, and you also need to be attended to by a skilled person. So if you are not attended to by a skilled person, obviously you wouldn't understand that the blood that you're required to have, or somebody that needs to donate you blood, should be identified at an earlier stage.
Yes. So
that is why I still want us to see how best we can discourage the staying of home or going to the traditional birth attendants to help us through our pregnancies.
Yes, I think the Ministry of Health is doing well. If you look at our policies, all the policies is emphasizing skilled birth attendant. And previously, it was the Ministry of Health that was training the traditional birth attendant. And it is the same Ministry of Health that has came back and is discouraging them. It's telling them that really we appreciate your effort. We appreciate what you've been doing. But, medicine is evolving because research is being conducted every time. And we're talking about evidence-based practice. The evidence has shown that really delivering at home, it increases the risk of complications, it increases the risk of death, both for the mother and the baby. And it delays intervention. So we're using those evidence. So we're encouraging women, please try and deliver at the hospital. And for the current birth company, the community birth companion, we are saying thank you very much. You've done well, but we really appreciate your effort. If you can easily pick them up, identify them, because they've been trained about how to identify labor, they can easily identify labor and come with them, rush with them to the health facility. So that's the emphasis, to avoid delay in intervention. Yeah,
so that is really important, because communities that are really far from healthcare facilities would tend to do this most often. But if the women that are attending to them are not also provided with materials, obviously they will not risk it. But I'm glad that they are being put into trainings that will help them identify who is in labor and at what time you should take this woman to the facility. That will really help. So let us quickly move on to understand how birth preparedness and complication readiness as a strategy is helping to improve our reproductive health policy as a country, and of course as Africa at large. We can link it to the SDGs, of course, because we know SDG 3 is talking about good health and well-being, and one of the indicators, of course, this is on maternal mortality and reproductive health. So let's link this to and see how our strategy is helping us improve on that aspect.
Very good. Talking about in the Gambia and Africa as a whole, I think maternal mortality is a developmental problem, because if you look at the developing countries, we are counting in hundreds. Like in the Gambia, even though we are doing well, but I can say that even one death is a concern.
Sure.
But we've seen that there is some reduction. In our 2013 health survey, it was 433 per 100,000 live birth. Now it has been reduced to 280 per 100,000 live birth, according to the current results of the DHS 2019-2020. So it means we've reduced a lot, but still it is
acceptable.
High.
It's not
acceptable.
It
is unacceptably high, because in developed countries where they're counting in units, like 5, like 1 per 100,000 live births, there's no way that we should be counting in hundreds. Up to 200s. So it is a concern in the African continent, even though we are all struggling. But in our policy, Gambian policy, really there's a lot of emphasis on birth preparedness, complication, readiness. And the strategy is there, the programs are there. You'll see that in all of the hospitals, we preach.
Yeah,
we preach birth preparedness, complication, readiness. Because studies have shown that in the Gambia, 3 of the indirect causes of maternal mortality is delay in making decisions to reach care. And who makes the decision? Most of the time, it is the husband or the elderly person. So we always try to involve the decision maker and also teach them on the danger signs so that they can decide as soon as possible to reach health facility. Delay in reaching health care. And most of the time, the problem is lacking money or transport. That's why it is incorporated in the birth preparedness. Delay in receiving care. Most of the time is lack of blood, or they went to the wrong place, identifying the correct health facility. So that's why they are all part of our birth preparedness and complication readiness package. So I believe because of what we are implementing, that's why we are seeing the reduction in the maternal mortality. Even though we are saying that still we have a lot to go, we need to move. We cannot be counting in hundreds. We want to be counting in units. Even none. We're saying that we need 0 maternal death. No life should be lost by when giving life. You know, a woman is helping to bring in life, so her life should not be cost.
Interesting. So we are saying that the strategy has really counted a lot in trying to improve our reproductive and child health sector.
Of course.
That's
Thank
nice.
you.
So quickly, let us discuss on who is involved when it comes to birth preparedness and complication readiness strategy. Because I know you did discuss that the couple is it's directly involved, but how about the government and the society? How do they take part in this?
Very good. You know, I made mention about the couple because they are the key. They are the center. But if you look at it, in society, you see we have a lot of branches that are interconnected. If you talk about the couple, also it strikes to the family. So the family is also very important. Also very importantly, the healthcare providers. The nurses, the doctors, whoever is giving services to pregnancy-related care should be aware of this birth preparedness and should teach these women about this birth preparedness, including their husbands. So they also play a very critical role. Because if they are not doing it, then the strategy will not work. The government is also very, very central. Because if you talk about birth preparedness, people can prepare. People can have all what it takes to be in the hospital. But also we need the required resources at the health facility. A partner can reach very early. They can have a blood to donate. But if the individual requires surgery and the required materials for surgeries are not there, then delay in intervention will be still there. So we also, even though they're doing well, but we are telling the government that they need to work harder. Let them increase more funding, especially towards reproductive health.
Quite important because women are such a treasure in every country, of course. So in your experience as a registered nurse, of course, we know everything that is strategically placed must have challenges. Let's explore the challenges that BPCR would have. I mean, birth preparedness and complication readiness.
The first challenges that we are facing is culture, our culture. Because, you know, culture is somebody, it molds people, and it is part of you. And if you want to remove it, it becomes, it needs persistence.
Sure.
And, you know, bad preparedness tries to break some of these cultural barriers. You'll see, you didn't mention it. Like sometimes people will tell you that it is bad for me to start buying things.
Before giving birth.
Before giving birth.
That might kill my baby.
It may kill my baby.
Yeah.
And also I've talked about blood donation. Some people, I don't know, because of cultural beliefs, they don't want to donate blood. So we have a lot of cultural issues. And also in complication readiness, we talk about male involvement, being the partner or any man who is around to come with the woman in the delivery place. So in the event that they did not donate blood, and the blood is needed, then that man can rush and donate blood.
I mean, not just for blood donation, but it could be for psychological support
for the woman.
Support
and the like.
It's quite important.
But because of our culture, we believe that delivery, anything related to pregnancy and delivery is a female domain.
And that's why they continue to bring the old women to take the women to the hospital.
So the cultural barriers are problems, and we need to break those barriers, even though I know that it can be hard, but it needs persistence and also resources. Sometimes really you have all what is required to intervene, but the resources may not be there. So these are some of the challenges that we face.
So what are the way forwards for us?
The way forward is we've started it. As you are doing, really, I congratulate you. Okay. If all the other medias are doing the same thing, let's start together so that we can be heard, so that the people at the remotest area can get us. So we talk about it. The first thing is let's talk about it. And as we talk about it, people will understand and accept. So it's the sensitization, the advocacy that we need. And we also need attitude of the healthcare providers towards this bad preparedness and complication readiness. It should be central to their activities. And the government commitment, very important. NGOs, the government alone may not be able to do that. Let the NGOs or anybody that is interested in health come in and support. The lives that you save, let us remember that we are saving 2 lives, that of the woman and the baby. So let us not leave it alone with the government, even though we are appealing that let them increase their health expenditures, but also we're calling on the NGOs or any other person, within or outside the country. Let us help, either in cash or in kind or any other way, either increasing the awareness or any other way to ensure that people adhere to the principles of bad preparedness and complication readiness.
I mean, this is quite a very interesting topic, and I would have loved that we explore more things in it. Auntie Haddy, kindly share with us your final remarks.
Thank you very much, Sona. I just want to seize this opportunity to thank the African Renaissance TV. It's a job well done, and I'll be happy, I'll be glad to be here again to talk about anything relating to reproductive health, especially maternal and child health. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Auntie Haddy. Well, viewers, as we draw the curtains on this episode, we want to appreciate the time you took to watch us on discussing bad preparedness and complication readiness. We know it's a huge thing that everybody must come together and fight against. But this is all that time has permitted us to say. Before we go, we want to remind all of you that this show is open for partnership and sponsors. Do not forget to subscribe, like, and share the videos for more interesting episodes. Until we come your way again next time, bye from us.